Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Habits Podcast. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Disciplined Habits Podcast. I'm Jess Gordon, your host. I am so glad that you are here, whether you are watching on YouTube where you can physically see me or you're just listening through Spotify. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're somebody who's considering on moving to a new city or a new state, then you're in the right place. And if you're somebody who has already moved to a new city or a new state, you are also in the right place, because I want to go over everything that I've learned since in the last 6 months of moving to Florida and how I can hopefully help your move or transition be so much more seamless and so smooth. And you can kind of learn from what are some of the things that I've learned as I've had 6 months away from home and living entirely on my own. I think it's so exciting thinking about moving somewhere far. If you're somebody who's just wants to move on a whim, or if you're someone who just graduated college and you're ready to go to a new city, your job is taking you to a new state, you're really excited about it, it's your dream job, all the things. Of course, it's really exciting, but there also can be so many things that make you nervous in moving to a new place. And I do not want to overlook that, because I completely understand. I feel like the biggest thing that I was afraid of was, am I going to feel homesick? And that was my biggest goal whenever I moved. I didn't want to feel homesick. Of course, you might feel homesick at first, but like if God called you to it, he's going to walk you through it. And so I want to encourage you that in that today, like if you are in a season of feeling homesick, I'm hoping that this video can encourage you in that season and that you can go out there and have a great time in your new city. And if you're somebody new going to a new city, then to hopefully avoid the homesickness feelings, this video will help you. If you have any bit of consideration of moving to a new city in your 20s or young adult life, and you feel the Lord is really urging you, like, oh, go do this, fully do it. Definitely do it, because I will say it has been the best decision I think I've ever made, was to move 1,100 miles away from where I'm from. I know that's, like, so far, and maybe you don't have to move as far, but, like, I moved 1,100 miles away, and I am so glad that I did, and I'm so thankful for the way that God has guided me through this entire journey from start to finish. I want this to be your guide, and this to be an episode on basically everything you should know before moving away, when you first get there, and then as you continue to live there. I want this to be your go-to guide today. So, buckle up, y'all. We're getting into it. Why I feel like the transition for me moving was so significant was because I was moving by myself. I was moving and living alone by myself. Now, when I say moving by myself, I don't mean actually by myself. I had my entire family help me move, but like I was moving to this city not knowing anybody, almost not knowing anybody. I will say I had one friend, but that's a whole other story. Anyways, I was basically moving by myself, and that's so significant in itself. But then what was even more significant and a major change for me was the fact that I was going to be living alone. I've never lived alone before. I've always lived with either my family whenever I was growing up. Then whenever I went to college, I always had multiple roommates. Like I always lived with 4 or 5 people, and it was just always living with other people. So I never knew what it was going to be like living alone. So that's why it was so significant. And if you are going to be moving alone, it's really awesome. It can be a little interesting to figure out at first with all the kind of housekeeping things and chores, and also the simple things in life, like literally getting dressed. Because if there's a zipper on the back of my shirt, I am like, well, I live alone. There's nobody gonna zip it up for me. So, gonna have to figure out how to do it. And actually, I have this one blouse. It's literally my favorite blouse. I have a zipper on the back of it, which makes it so hard to zip up because I live alone. And so I figured out that if I pull it up my neck, if you're watching, you can see me doing a visual demonstration right now, but I pull it up my neck so that way it's high above my head, and then I zip it and put it back down, which is so silly, but it's just small things like that I live alone, can't put on certain bracelets. Necklaces, sometimes a challenge. I'm a girly who wears fake nails. So sometimes putting on a necklace, I can't just holler down the hall and be like, hey, roommate, I need your help. So there's been a lot of things that I've had to adjust, but that's why it's so significant in my transition was because I was moving from always living with people, always having like a ton of people in the apartment and whatever, to literally living alone. My desire whenever I was moving was I really never wanted to feel homesick. I never wanted to. And so far, being here 6 months, I have not once been homesick. Now, of course, I always say to my friends, I miss you so much because of course I miss their presence, but I'm so thankful for living at a time with FaceTime and social media that I can completely keep up with everybody and text them whenever I feel like it. I feel like I phone call a lot, and I'm really glad to live in a time where I can just call up my friends, pick up the phone, I can Snapchat, vlog to them, FaceTime, like I'm basically there with them. So if I do miss them, it's really just as easy as pressing a button on my phone. Another thing before I kind of go into the nitty gritty of this is, what's crazy, guys, is so last week at church, or okay, let me back it up. Last Saturday night, I was sitting on my deck. It was really late. I had actually taken a nap, and so I couldn't go to bed. So it was kind of late. For me, late is 11 p.m. Okay. So it's 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. I'm by myself out on my patio, and I'm actually typing up this little script and kind of outline of what I was going to say for this podcast on how to have a community and how to build a community whenever you move somewhere. And so then the next day, it's Sunday, and I go to church with all my friends and the whole crew. It was a sermon on life saving and life giving friendships. And he went all into how to basically pick friends that are going to build you up, encourage you, and just be really good people, men and women of God to have around you. So let's talk about before actually moving. This is going to sound crazy and maybe a little old lady-ish, but I don't really think it is go on to Facebook and join as many Facebook groups as you can. It is kind of comforting to know and see a community online before you actually go to the place. So I joined a group called a Facebook group that was like an exchange group, and it was only girls. So like you could buy and sell clothes on there, buy and sell furniture for your apartment. If events were going on, people were dropping them in the chat, like the whole thing. I joined that. I also joined my neighborhood group chat. So wherever my neighborhood has like a, or not a group chat, sorry. My neighborhood has a group Facebook page, and so I joined that group Facebook page, and I was like, okay, I want to know my neighbors, all the things, like kind of get a little nosy and just really put yourself out there. I went on to lots of social media. Like I literally went on TikTok and was like, moving to Tampa, followed all of these social media influencers, all of these girls that I found on social media that looked like people who I would want to meet in real person in real life. And then I followed them. Some of them I messaged, some of them I didn't. I just kind of I sound literally crazy. I promise you I'm not. I watched their life because I saw the things that they were doing and like what were the kind of the spots to do. I also followed a bunch of Instagrams like That's So Tampa, stuff to do in Tampa Bay, when in Tampa. Like there were so many Instagrams, and I'm sure wherever city you're planning on moving, I'm sure there's something similar to that. So social media, using it to your advantage is so helpful, and that's something that I did before I moved, so that way I kind of knew what was going on rather than just blindly moving 1100 miles away. So that's something that I would recommend before you move. Okay, so now let's talk about when you are actually moved and how to get plugged into a community. This might be a crazy unpopular opinion, but you have to do it if you want to get into a good community. I'm going to say it real loud and clear. The first step is getting comfortable with doing things alone. You have to have the realization whenever you move that you have to be okay with doing a few things alone whenever you first get there, because obviously you're not going to know anybody. Like you just moved. Of course, you're not going to know anybody. So you have to have that realization of like, okay, I just moved. I don't know anyone. I'm going to have to get a little bit outside of my comfort zone and go and talk to people and make an effort to do things alone so that way I can actually meet people. So I will tell you guys, I went to church here twice by myself. I went twice by myself. And on the second time, they had a call to prayer up at the altar. or like the stage or whatever you want to call it. So I go up and I see this gal. She's young, a little bit older than me, but younger. So I was like, hi, I literally just moved here. I need prayer because I want to find community. I want to have relationships with people. I want to have really good friendships here. Of course, she was the sweetest lady ever. And she fiercely is praying for me. She's praying over me to have like really great relationships. And it was just really awesome. So after she's done praying for me, she's like, let me get your number. I'm going to invite you to a beach worship night we're having the following Friday. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's so awesome. So the following Friday rolls around. She tells me where to go for the beach worship night, which, by the way, beach worship night was literally a dream of mine. Like, I love worship in general, but the fact that it was on the beach at sunset, like, are you kidding me? Y'all, that literally like screamed me. I love the sunset. I love the beach. I love worship. I love Jesus. Four amazing things. The combination, I was like, yes, I will be there. I'm clearing anything that I had to do on my schedule, which I didn't because I just moved here. I am going to this beach worship night. So her and I are texting back and forth on Friday night. And so Friday night rolls around. I'm at the beach worship night before her, and she's like, girl, I'm so sorry. My work is running really late. Traffic's terrible. I'm running so behind. So I'm there at this event alone. I was sitting on my beach towel with my Bible, and I was reading my Bible, and I saw a group of people that looked like they might be people that would be starting a worship night, but I wasn't certain. And because I didn't know anybody, I was like, I literally have no idea. I have no idea. So I just sat on my beach towel for so long contemplating because I knew my friend or the girl was going to be so long until she got here because she was like, I'm still at work and the traffic's horrendous, all of the things. I was really uncomfortable. I was like, I'm alone. I don't know if that's the group. It's going to be so weird if I go over there and I'm like, hey, are you guys a part of the beach worship night? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? I was so nervous and I literally contemplated leaving. I'm not even kidding you guys. I contemplated leaving. I know that may be a surprise to you because I'm very extroverted, but for some reason, I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. Do I really want to go over to these people? By the goodness of God and by his courage, I finally was like, you know what? You're going over there. So I walk over there, which was probably 100 yards across the beach. And as I got closer, I actually started to notice that people had the Pray First bracelets that my church wears. So I was like, okay, definitely in the right place. So I walk over there. I didn't really say anything. Like, I so vividly remember this night because it was such a pivoting moment for me. So I didn't really say anything to anybody. Sit down, Bible open, singing the worship songs. Sun's going down. It's stunning. I'm taking a video. I'm like immense in the presence of God. And so the people who I was sitting next to was two guys and a girl. And the girl had a dog. And shout out to my friend Elena because that's who it was. And basically, her and the two guy friends who are still my friends, Jarrett and Derek. So if y'all are watching this, you guys hopefully remember this as vividly as I do because I know I remember it so vividly. The three of them are like, oh my goodness, hey, what's going on? They're immediately becoming friends with me and just being really awesome and just being friends like Jesus. So I'm feeling so relieved. And then they're like, oh, we're going to pizza afterwards. Like, you're coming along. And I'm like, okay. Finally, it's literally dark. And my friend who originally was planning on meeting me there finally shows up. And so we all go get pizza. It's a Friday night. It's the best night ever. We all talk all night long at this little pizza shop over in St. Pete. And it was just the best. And then as I became close with them, they were like, I so vividly remember this. They were like, you're definitely in the right place. Like, you're going to be so overwhelmed with plans. Sure enough, that was so true. They could not have been more true. I was so overwhelmed with plans. They kept inviting me to things that were involved with the church. That literally next thing I knew, I was serving on the dream team the next weekend. I was in a small group the next weekend too, and I was doing events with the church. Like, it literally happened so fast because of this small group of people who were like welcoming me into their circle and welcoming me into their community. And then the next thing I know, they're like, hey, I think you would really get along with my friend Abby. So that's how I met Abby. Then I met Abby's friends, and then it just kind of snowballed its way. And I'm so glad that I took that little moment of an uncomfortable to be like, fine, I'll go over to the beach worship night, even though all those people look way cooler than me. I'll do it. And I did, and it turned out so great. And literally, I do not think that if I didn't go to that beach worship night, I wouldn't have been so plugged in with the community that I am plugged in with now. And I'm so thankful for them. And they just perfectly exemplified the scripture, Proverbs 17:17, which is a brother loves at all times. And that's exactly what it means to be a friend like Jesus. They open their arms wide open and we're like, you're coming with us. You're doing all the things we're doing. And yeah, now here we are. And so I just want to encourage you, like, don't be afraid to go do something by yourself and just being like, hey, I'm Jess, or hey, I'm whoever. I just moved here and I don't really know anybody. Can you show me, like, who are you? It doesn't work one time, that's totally fine. Maybe go to something else. Maybe go to a pickleball court and be like, "Hey, I just moved here. I don't know the area. I don't really know anybody. Like, kind of show me all the things or whatever you're interested in. Do a fitness class. Hey, I'm new. I don't know anyone." Like, do the whole spiel, you know? Like, whatever it is you're interested in. Maybe you're into music, go to a concert. Hey, I don't know anyone. I'm at this concert alone. Can I hang out with you and your friends? You know? Just do it, because then I promise you, you will not regret it. If you're at a place where you're interested in something that everybody else around you is interested in, you're bound to be friends. Okay, so the next thing is kind of goes along with the power of doing something alone, but it's the power of saying yes. So I know it's very overwhelming at first to say yes and kind of overbook yourself and overextend yourself, but honestly, I couldn't emphasize it enough. Is just always say yes, because whenever you're constantly hanging out with people, you can really create deep relationships with them, and that's how you get to know them and become super close with them. So if people are asking you to hang out every night of the first 2 weeks that you're there, say yes. Although you're probably going to be tired, I definitely think that you should say yes, because you're just getting closer with these people and it's so fun, and you will not even think twice about being so far away from home. Why this also goes in back in ties back in with my last point is because, like, those my friends at the beach worship night were like, "Oh, you're joining the dream team." I didn't really think twice about it. I was just like, "Yes," because I'm probably going to meet new people. Then they were like, "You should join a small group." And I was like, "Yes," because I'm going to meet more people. They were like, "You should sit with us at church and all of our other friends." Yes, because that's even more people to sit with and hang out with. "You should come to pickleball on Sunday nights." Yes, like, I just kept saying yes, and it was super overwhelming at first, but I'm really glad that I did, because then you meet one person who knows so and so. "Oh, I think you would really like this person. Oh my goodness, hey girl." And then next thing you know, you're close. You know what? One of my closest friends, Kelly, who was just on the podcast, if you guys have been following along, her and I serve on the welcome tent together. That's how we became so close. My friend Abby, I got introduced to her through other people. My friend Elena, she was the one that was at the worship night and originally was like, "You should do all these things." One of my girls, Kiana, she's my small group leader and has been such an amazing mentor to me. And I just feel so lucky to have her in my life, because she's super wise and a little bit older than me. And we're super close. And we even have the same hobby of golfing. So we like to go to the golf driving range together. And so that's I would highly recommend that you say yes a million times. Overextend yourself, say yes, do the things alone, and also say yes whenever there's a group's invitation, because you will not regret it. Over time, these familiar faces then became my new family in my new city. I promise you, just keep saying yes, because then you're just gonna, like, have the best time ever. And believe me, I'm excited for you. Like, if you're somebody who's on the other side of the screen or just listening to this right now and you're like, "I'm so excited to move," I'm just as excited for you, because I know how fun and exciting it is, and it's so cool once you actually do it. Find somebody in your workplace that's a little bit older, or they are born and raised in the city that you're in, been there years and years and years, and know the city like the back of their hand. One of my coworkers, she's older and has been in Tampa for many, many years. So guess what? She's the one that I go to for dentist recommendations, doctor recommendations. The lady who cuts my hair is also her hairstylist. She tells me where to eat. She tells me all these things, where to shop. She's the one that I go to for maintenance stuff. One of my coworkers who's a little bit older, absolutely love her. She gave me my car guy, my guy that does my oil. I love him. He's literally amazing. I will never go anywhere else because this guy treats me so well. And that's what my coworker told me. And I'm so glad that I had her because she told me to go to him. And now I get this guy and he's awesome. Last hurricane season was a little bit crazy. There was a lot of chaos happening here, especially on the southwest part of Florida. And the first hurricane that came, that was pretty scary. I was alone. I'm from Pennsylvania. We don't have hurricanes. My coworker literally let me stay at her house for the hurricane. Like, guys, how amazing is that? And she has experienced plenty of hurricanes. Little old me was like, I've never done a hurricane before. I don't really know what to expect. And I was among the crazy people who were out like buying water like the world was ending and food like the world was ending. And my coworker was like, no, 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 no. You're coming with me. You're staying the night with me. You're going to be safe with me. I've experienced plenty of hurricanes. We have everything that you could possibly need. You're coming with me. Definitely find an older coworker or somebody who was born and raised in the city so that way they can tell you all of the kind of maintenance things and kind of like the local information that you're probably going to need, like which doctors to go to, which dentist to go to, and all of the things, because those are things that you need to do whenever you move to a city. Use your resources wisely, y'all. I want to kind of shift my focus to if you're somebody who has moved and has been there for a little bit and you're maybe a little bit homesick. I just want to preface and say, like, that's totally okay. That's totally okay. But think about ways, like, how can you this week make an effort to make a connection with one or two people? Maybe that's going to a workout class and just after the class being like to a girl that was on the treadmill next to you, "Hey, that was a really great workout. What's your name? I don't really have many friends here. Like, how can I get to know you? Do you want to get coffee sometime?" Or even go back to those Facebook groups that I mentioned earlier, message on there or post on there. "Hey, I don't really know too many people. Does anybody want to grab coffee with me this week?" And do something this week to reconnect and get connected with maybe one or two people so that way you can be um, feeling less homesick. And if you really are so homesick to the point where you need to go home, of course, like go home, but also just pray about it. Ask the Lord to provide you relationships and friendships that are going to help you and going to help you grow and just be really fun to be around. I also want to go into say to the point is like on the flip side now, so I've been here 6 months. And if somebody were to come up to me at the end of my class, and at the end of a workout class and say, "Hey, I'm new," like I would definitely want to be the person that somebody was for me many months ago. Be like, "Oh my goodness, you're coming with me. Come with my friends. We're all going out to dinner on Friday night. You're coming out with us. Come with us on our Bayshore walk. Like, let's go get coffee together. Be a friend like Jesus tells us to be." And yeah, as somebody did that to me, I want to be that to somebody else because I know how greatly it benefited me whenever I was brand spanking new to a city all by myself, no roommate, no anybody. It would feel so good inside for me to be that for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, "Hey, let's do this. I'll take you out to lunch. Like, come on, let's go." All right, so guys, I've definitely been yapping for quite some time, but I really do hope that you took something out of this. And I just want to say, like, I'm so thankful for all of the people that I have in my community right now. I truly believe that they were divinely placed in my life from God, and you can have that same experience through prayer and also going outside of your comfort zone and doing something that may be a little bit uncomfortable and just trying it out to see where it may lead you. I encourage you, if you're someone who's at a brand new city, and in a similar situation as me, to definitely take that initiative to reach out to people via social media, reach out to people at your local church, reach out to people at your local grocery store, like literally whatever it is, whatever you do, wherever you are, take initiative. If that's your coworkers, reach out to them. Whenever you step out of your comfort zone, you can really connect so well with so many other people. And there might even be people that you come across with that are literally in the same season of life as you. And then you guys can kind of relate and be like, hey, we don't really know too many people. Let's do these things together to try to get plugged in with the community. And I just want to reassure you guys and encourage you that if I can do it, you can definitely do it too. Hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Discipline Habits Podcast. Thanks so much for watching and staying tuned in and up until this part. And we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye. Hi guys. Welcome back to another episode of Discipline Habits Podcast.